Wingers, because the questions are again on Morgan Rogers. I keep mentioning Morgan Rogers as the number 1, 2 and 3 target for Arsenal. They want to go for him. They made very good progress on player side, so Arsenal are working hard on a deal to sign Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa. They are in conversations, they are in negotiations, the deal is absolutely on, so Morgan Rogers to Arsenal is a really concrete story on player side. Then there is the club-to-club side, and obviously it's going to take some time before we know how the negotiations will progress, how much Arsenal will offer, how much Aston Villa want. It's still early stages between clubs, but it's advancing on player side, there is no doubt. He's the player wanted by Mikel Arteta, he's the player seen as the top target, so they are ready to make a big investment on Morgan Rogers. The player is also very tempted about this possibility to go to Arsenal. The project is ambitious, they won the Premier League last season, Champions League finalist, till the penalties, so the feeling is very good between Morgan Rogers and Arsenal. Now it's on closing this agreement between the clubs. The conversations, again, will continue very soon, but they expect Arsenal to focus this summer, at the beginning of this summer transfer window, on Morgan Rogers.
Well, Gooners, let's go straight to the story that could cause absolute chaos in North London. According to RTIS Sport, Arsenal have made a surprise inquiry about signing Savinho from Manchester City. Yes, that same Savinho who was heavily pursued by Tottenham throughout the summer, with Spurs reportedly willing to pay as much as £65 million for the Brazilian winger last year. Now, Arsenal have suddenly entered the picture and made contact to explore the possibility of bringing him to the Emirates, initially on a loan deal. If this move develops any further, it would not only give Arsenal another explosive option in attack, but it could also deal a major blow to one of their fiercest rivals. The big question now is whether Manchester City would even consider allowing a player of Savinho's quality to strengthen a direct Premier League title challenger. And knowing Andrea Berta, if Arsenal have made the call, there is usually a reason behind it. The coming days could be very interesting indeed. City's response was immediate and unambiguous. Loan? No chance. The only way Savinho leaves the Etihad is on a permanent deal, and City have set their valuation at around £43 million. That is a fascinating number, given that Spurs were willing to spend £65 million just 12 months ago. City have either recalibrated their expectations or they are deliberately pricing him to sell quickly rather than hold out for a premium. Now let us talk about what Savinho actually brings, and because the profile is genuinely interesting for Arsenal's needs. The 22-year-old Brazilian is direct, explosive and capable of taking defenders on repeatedly across 90 minutes. He predominantly operates on the left side, which is precisely the position Arsenal are desperate to strengthen following the anticipated departures of Martinelli and Trossard. At £43 million permanent, he also represents significantly better value than many of the names Arsenal have been pursuing this summer. But here is the complexity. Morgan Rogers remains the primary target, and Andrea Berta has not abandoned that pursuit. Savinho would likely be viewed as a second winger addition, the kind of depth signing that makes the squad genuinely dangerous from multiple angles rather than just a direct replacement for one outgoing player. The Tottenham angle adds an irresistible dimension to this story. Arsenal snatching Savinho from directly under Spurs' noses at a lower price than the one they offered last summer would be exactly the kind of ruthless, intelligent business that Berta was hired to deliver. City knock back the loan. But a permanent offer? That conversation might be very different. Come back with the right number, Berta, and make sure Spurs feel it. Now let's talk about Kenan Yildiz, because Fabrizio Romano has just delivered what amounts to the final word on this transfer saga, and his language leaves absolutely no room for interpretation. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Romano was definitive. Arsenal would really like Kenan Yildiz, there's no doubt about that. Who wouldn't want to buy a player of Kenan Yildiz's caliber? But Juventus is starting again after a season that ended painfully. For Juve, he's a key player, a player they can build on for next season and for the future. Juve has already done its important work on Yildiz, renewing his contract, improving his salary. So Juve has moved well in advance, and today we must leave the discussion about Arsenal. This is one to put under the heading of Arsenal's dreams and not under the heading of reality. Arsenal's dreams, not reality. From Fabrizio Romano, it does not get more conclusive than that. And Romano is right to frame it so starkly. Juventus CEO Damian Comolli already went public weeks ago confirming that Arteta personally wants Yildiz and that Juventus would reject an offer of €100 million. Juve then quietly went ahead and renewed his contract and improved his salary, removing every possible lever Arsenal could have used to engineer a transfer. That is a club that has identified its most important asset and locked it down with absolute precision. What this update does, more than anything, is clarify where Arsenal's energy must now go. The Yildiz pursuit consumed weeks of speculation and column inches, and that bandwidth must now shift entirely towards the targets that are actually achievable. Rodgers is ready and waiting. Barcola remains in play. Savinho has just emerged as a potential alternative. Osorio offers a different kind of profile at a fraction of the cost. Yildiz is a generational talent, and Arsenal's admiration for him is completely understandable. But Romano has spoken. The door is closed. It is time to move on. And move fast. The window will not wait for dreams. Now let's round things off with the story that should have every Gooner smiling from ear to ear, because the French media have just delivered their verdict on William Saliba's World Cup performances, and the message is unanimous. The injury concerns are over. The best defender in the world is back. France have already secured their place in the World Cup round of 32, and Saliba has been a central figure in both performances, the opening win over Senegal and the 3-0 victory over Iraq in Philadelphia. Against Iraq alone, he completed 3 recoveries, 3 clearances, 2 interceptions and won 4 duels. In a game where France barely needed to break sweat, Saliba was still commanding and authoritative throughout. The French media were effusive. L'Équipe gave him 6 out of 10 and wrote, and these are words that will resonate deeply with every Arsenal supporter, a back problem. What problem? The Arsenal defender once again displayed his athletic prowess to dominate the Iraqi attackers. In duels, he was often unyielding. In the air, he reigned supreme. Eurosport France also gave him 6 out of 10, noting his authority in duels and his comfortable rhythm once he settled into the game. The significance of this for Arsenal cannot be overstated. Cast your mind back to the anxiety that gripped the fan base when those back injury reports first emerged in the aftermath of Budapest. The idea that Saliba, the cornerstone of everything Arteta builds defensively, could be compromised heading into the new season was genuinely alarming. The Gunners are already navigating a complicated defensive summer with Ben White's future uncertain, Timber's groin injury and Brown heading to Bayern rather than North London. Saliba fit, firing and dominating at the World Cup is not just good news for France. It is the single most important update Arsenal have received this entire summer. He is the foundation everything is built upon. Without him at his absolute best, the Champions League dream becomes significantly harder. With him, as the French media are now confirming, it remains very much alive. Come on, William, keep going. The Emirates needs you ready for August. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with everything happening at Arsenal, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here you'll get the biggest Arsenal news stories of the day first, with all the latest transfer updates, breaking developments and behind-the-scenes stories from the Emirates. Thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, let us know where you're watching from in the comments below. Until next time, take care and come on you Gunners!